Welcome to the SOB radio show, where we have fun, interesting guests, and hot topics. Each week, we offer insights into music, fashion, health, fitness, and humor. Do you have the perfect guest for us to interview? I want to know. Drop me a line on our Facebook page at SpunkyOldBroad1 or reach out to me on our website at spunkyoldbroad.com. And now, back to the show.
My guest today is Susan Goodkind Wideman. Susan is an elder law attorney from Michigan. And prior to joining the $1 Million Solution as Director of Member Engagement, she ran her successful elder law and estate planning firm for 17 years. The focus of her law practice was to provide compassionate and high-quality legal services to her clients, their loved ones, and her community. Before becoming a lawyer, she worked in the industrial design and contract furniture industries as a marketing communications specialist. She has an undergraduate degree in design and environment analysis from Cornell University and earned her JD from the Thomas Cooley Law School. She believes that her commitment to her connecting with her clients and her creative approach to marketing her law firm were key elements in her success, and she looks forward to helping other elder law attorneys advance their careers. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Well, I got to ask you a question first, and that is, how did you go from being a marketing communications specialist and learning about industrial design to lawyer? I mean, that's a jump.
Yes, it's a jump. It's part of the journey. Well, I was working in the furniture industry at a time when things were changing quickly. I was living in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The industry was very successful. However, a lot of things were going overseas. And the department that I was specifically working in, marketing communications, was going to close down. And I had to reassess where I wanted to go with my career. I looked around and landed on law because I thought it would be a place that I could do something with my knowledge of design and the furniture industry and yet have some independence and control over my career. So I went back to law school, got my law degree, but while I was there, I found this area called elder law, and it resonated with me much more than working in products liability. So that's how I ended up in elder law.
Well, you know, elder law is so important. I mean, there are so many people taking advantage of people who are elderly that, it is such an important practice of the law. So I'm glad that you did have the opportunity to do that. So how old are you now? I know people don't like to say that, but you said it's all right for me to ask you that.
Absolutely. I am 62 years old, and I am thrilled to be 62.
Well, yeah, we're glad to wake up and be 62, right?
Yep.
So,
yes.
How do you feel about being 62? I mean, in terms of where you are and what you're doing now.
Well, as I say, it's been a journey, but where I am today, I feel amazing. I mean, I feel so full of ideas, energy, opportunity. I've always been a person who took care of myself. So health-wise, I'm blessed. I'm lucky. I've had the little things that everybody gets, but I have good physical fitness. My weight is under control. My skin, my hair. I mean, I feel great about being 62. Yeah, I do.
So what exactly are you doing now? Now you're not practicing law, correct?
I am not. I am actually at the final end of the process of selling my law practice to my partner, who is significantly younger than me and ready, willing, and able to take over the practice. I wanted to do something different. So I kind of looked around to see what the opportunities were, and this job came into my vision, into my view. It's an opportunity to use my background in marketing and my knowledge of elder law. And I work remotely, which is very, very cool. And I am the head of member engagement for a company that coaches and trains elder law attorneys how to grow their businesses.
Wow. So, this is a perfect example of what I talk about. I talk about reinventing ageism. And you are a perfect example. You had a career, first of all, in the furniture industry, and I'm well familiar with Grand Rapids because my husband was born in Holland. He
Oh, okay.
was raised in Grand Haven. My
Mhm.
daughter actually went to high school in Grand Rapids because she stayed with my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, and so I'm well familiar with the entire area.
Okay.
And I know exactly, what you were doing and where you were working and that kind of thing. And
Yes.
then to take the leap to go to law school, which is not easy, and then to figure out to specialize in elder law, and then to
Hmm.
say, okay, and what made you say that? What made you say enough of practicing law? Now I want to do something else. Because you spent a lot of time going to law school. So
Yeah.
what made you make the break?
Well, it wasn't totally intentional. I I've always been a very hard worker, a very focused person, and I was just putting in an enormous amount of time and work to keep my law firm going, and I wasn't feeling very fulfilled anymore. It had gotten to be very much drudgery. And I just, my partner was ready. She was young. She had the enthusiasm. And I just knew that I had to bring myself back to something creative. And like I say, I've been that way a lot in my life. I've made many pivots. And I just knew something in my heart and my gut, my soul said, go forth, go and seek out this other opportunity. And so I just took a big chance. I did it. I did it. Yeah.
That's amazing because I think that uh, I talk about the fact of reinvention. I think I say I'm now in my seventh area of reinvention. If you started from the time I was in school, and
Hmm.
uh, but yet everything has kind of one thing has rolled into another thing, rolled into another thing, rolled into another thing, and that's kind of what you're doing because
Exactly.
you left the practice, but you are coaching other elderly law attorneys and in marketing. So you're utilizing all of your skills, and I think that's fantastic because that's what it's all about.
I
So,
agree.
so the thing is, and this is something that's hard for people to believe and understand, that when you do something you love, that it can become drudgery, that it can become overwhelming. And you say,
Yes.
oh, gosh, I love it. I love it. Why is it like this? And one of the things that we speakers, because I worked for 21 years as a full-time professional speaker, and I was on the road 50 weeks a year. And even though I travel a lot now, it is not the same kind of thing. I mean, I do travel more than the average bear, but compared to what I was doing, it's not as much. And most people, as they age in the speaking profession, say, oh, I want to get off the road. And that's why they go into coaching or they go into online training or things like that. So, what's your idea behind the Good Kind of Life? That's your
Okay.
name. And
Okay.
but you've got something called Good Kind of Life.
Yes. That's my side hustle because we never can do enough, right? Well, I've just, along with this coaching at this for the $1 million solution, I also wanted to take the knowledge that I have from being a midlife woman who has transitioned and has pivoted and help other midlife people who feel stuck. And so my side hustle is I am currently training to be a coach. I'm working, I don't know if I can say who I'm training through. Um,
Sure, you can do that, of
Yep,
course.
it's the Coactive Training Institute. So I'm in their program. And I am going to also, in addition to my one job, I'm going to have a say, I'm going to coach people. I'm going to coach midlife men and midlife women through my company, Good Kind of Life, about how to do similar things to what I did, how to move forward, how to get out of stuck, how to love yourself, I guess. I mean, I know that sounds corny, but really, that's what I'm trying to help people with.
No, I think, Susan, it is so important. I talk about this all the time that before you can love anybody else, you've got to be able to love yourself. And not only do you have to love yourself, you have to like yourself.
Yes.
Because if you don't like who you are, you don't like how you treat people, it's something that is, I mean, there's no equation for that at all. But
Yep.
you also, as part of this, and I don't know if this came from the elder law or, just your own personal compassion, you're president of your local hospice foundation board. I
Yes.
think hospice is one of the greatest organizations that I've come to know. A friend of mine is under hospice care right now. I was the
Yeah.
executor of my friend's estate, and she was in hospice at the very end. And another one of my friends also was in hospice. Um, what made you decide that you wanted to do that?
Well, I love what you said about it all rolls into each other. So, life experience, I lost my spouse to cancer. Hospice was there for us. Um, Working in elder law, constantly dealing with that issue of people coming to the end of their lives. And I felt so appreciative of what hospice is about and what they do that I found a way to become involved with them through their foundation, through their fundraising. And, after you spend enough time on a board, you always seem to rise to the top, at least for a while. So there's how I ended up with them. But I will be with hospice. I will help hospice as much as I can for as long as I can because their work is, you know, it's just amazing how much impact they have in what they do.
It is amazing. It is
Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
yeah.
So when we talk about you and what you're doing, um, we talk about living life to the fullest.
Yes.
And I know that you are living now in Upper Peninsula of Michigan, which is
Yes.
beautiful in the summer, Susan, but it sure gets cold in the winter. I
Yeah.
once did I did a program in the Upper Peninsula in the winter, and I will never forget how bad the weather was. And I remember I was trying to rent a car, and it was really funny because there was like no place to rent a car
Yeah.
except like a gas station. And it was really interesting. I was watching, I think it was a UPS truck, I'm not sure. And they had two guys in it, and one was driving and the other was hopping over snowbanks delivering the packages because it took two of them to do it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of the snow. So there you are in the
Yes.
Upper Peninsula, and I understand that you love to mountain bike and ski and
I
kayak
do.
and hike and
I
all of
do.
that. So uh, did you always like to do that? Did you just get into that, or where did that all come from?
That's a great question. I'm kind of a late bloomer. So I actually grew up on the East Coast in New Jersey, spent a lot of time in New York City, real city girl. And then moved out when I moved to Grand Rapids to work in the furniture industry, sort of got more of a taste for the outdoors and the outdoor fun that you can have. And then we moved to the UP and it was like a whole explosion. So really, I would say I wasn't even in my 40s until I started to get really physically active and started doing all those hiking, biking, skiing, and all that. Yeah, that came with my move to the UP.
So it's never too late, folks. I
Never,
mean, for
never.
those of you who say, well, I'm kind of a couch potato, not that I think you ever were, Susan, but I'm a couch potato and I don't really like all of this stuff and all because people at 40 and 45 are saying they're middle aged and it's too late. And you're a perfect example of no, it's not too late. You got into all of these things later in life and
Yes,
you are enjoying the living daylights out of them.
I
So
really am. I really am. Yeah,
I think that's fantastic.
yeah.
So, you are an animal lover, as I am,
Oh,
and
yes.
you have a chocolate lab. I had a golden lab. I
Okay.
thought I thought she was pretty dumb, but it turned out she was
Oh.
pretty smart. And I think she was just precocious. Let's put it like that.
Yeah,
But she actually was a really sweet dog.
yeah,
And I
absolutely.
mean,
Yeah.
I've had my share of all kinds of dogs. But
Mhm.
tell us about your dog, Walter.
Uh, Walter. Walter is my bud. He loves the outdoors too. So we kind of motivate each other to make sure every day there's something that happens that we get outdoors. He's just a great dog. I've always had labs. Um, I think when you're and I am single and my child is out of the house. So when you have a pet and you two spend that much time together, there's some kind of a mental connection that you kind of give and take a lot. He's a great dog. I love him. He's very athletic. He keeps me great company. He's easy. He's Walter.
Well, that's why a lot of people say to me, "Aren't you lonely? I mean, blah blah blah. Don't you want to date? Don't you want to?" Well, I had a really great guy for a husband, so I'm really not looking to replace him at all.
Uh-huh.
But I have these two cats. Used to have a dog, but she passed away, and unfortunately, where I am now, I can't have a dog again.
Okay.
However, these two cats are like dogs. They greet me when I come home. I
Yes.
sit down. They're on the in my lap, on the couch, in bed. They sleep with me. They accompany me for my radio shows. I mean, it's just really amazing, and I'm not lonely because they are really company. I mean, they're
Yes.
almost like people. They
Yes.
they talk to me. I talk to them. So for those of you who are listening out there who are over 50 and who may be alone, don't negate the factor of getting a pet. I mean,
Yes.
it is great therapy, it is great companionship. And yeah, it's a little bit of work, I mean, you do have to take care of them. You have to
Yes.
feed them, and of course, with the cats, you have to do the kitty litter. But it is certainly well worth, certainly everything that you go through. So you are now. So are you actually coaching yet, Susan?
Well, it's very interesting. I just came back from my second module, and in that training, they have told us that they feel that at this point we are prepared to start coaching. And so my plan, I just got home, so I'm kind of regrouping. My plan is to put an invite up on one of my social medias for I'm going to be looking for 5 people to coach. I will not be charging them because I'm in training, but I am looking for 5 people that I will coach. I have one client right now, so that maybe is one of my 5. So yes, I am coach and training.
Interesting, interesting.
Mhm.
So the elder care lawyers that you think you'll be dealing with, are they younger? Are they middle aged? Are they older? Who are primarily elder care lawyers?
Okay, so there's that. That's not good kind of life. No, that's what I do with the $1 million solution. That's when I'm working with the lawyers, and those are people in all aspects of their careers. It could be people getting started, people in the middle, even people towards the end. And really, my help for them is more of a marketing function. I'm helping them to use the tools of the $1 million solution to grow their businesses. And part of what goes on at $1 million solution is coaching, but right now I'm not the coach. I'm the guide through using the $1 million solution. So 2 different things that I'm doing. The people that I want to coach in Good Kind of Life are midlife people, 40 and up, I guess.
Interesting, interesting. And
Yeah.
the elder law attorneys are
Um, Elder law attorneys, again, so any phase,
any phase. Okay.
any age, any phase. Yeah.
I just wondered whether an older person would have more confidence in an elder care attorney who was older themselves. Because if a young whippersnapper comes
Hmm.
waltzing in saying, "I'm going to give you this great advice," I wonder if there's a disconnect there at all.
I think you hit on something really interesting. Personally, I always felt that added to my credibility. I didn't start practicing elder law myself until I was 36 years old. And I
Which is
just,
not old, Susan. It's
I
not
know, but
old.
I mean, I'm just
36
saying,
is not old.
right. And the whole scheme of being a lawyer, I got a little bit later start than some people do. But I always felt that my age was an advantage. And as I got older, it was an advantage because people resonated with me and knew that I had real life experience. I wasn't just talking from a textbook. I had
Hmm?
lived through a lot of life events. And so, yes, I felt that that was a benefit. I felt it was an asset to be older, and I still do.
Interesting, very interesting. So, when you decided to now, did you move to Michigan because of your of the job? I mean, did your husband move with you, or how did all of this happen?
No, I was single. I was living in New York City, and I moved to Michigan to work for Herman Miller.
Okay,
Lived in Grand Rapids for about 20 years. And then about 21 years ago, so you can add all the numbers and you'll see you get 62. About 21 years ago, my husband and I moved to the UP. We had been on vacation here in Marquette. loved it and thought, wow, what a wonderful place to raise a family, to live. And so, again, another pivot, another big change. We both quit our jobs, packed our bags. We had prospects, we had opportunities, and we picked up our whole life with a 9-month-old baby and moved to the UP to start again. To do. I got a job as an elder law attorney. He was a psychologist. He got a job working for community mental health, and boom, there we go. We did that for, that's what we did. We made another
Amazing.
change.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, I hope folks, as you're listening to Susan, that, she's talking about all these pivots that she made in her life. And some of you out there don't even want to make one. And nothing bad happens. I mean, yeah, there's struggles, of course, and there's getting to know people and getting adjusted to the situation. But, there's a lot of opportunity that comes with all of this, too. So if there are those of you that are out there thinking, oh, boy, I'd like to do this, or I've always thought about doing that, but oh, my gosh, what a change it would be. And oh, am I leaving my friends, and am I going to make new friends? I mean, all of these things I know go through everybody's mind. But here's a tremendous opportunity for you. And I just think that is a terrific thing, Susan. I mean, it's you're really a great example of reinventing yourself. And so do you think you're going to reinvent yourself even more?
I'm evolving now. I don't see myself really making any more major shifts, but never say never, because if you had asked me 10 years ago, would I be doing what I'm doing today? I didn't see that coming. So I'm always open to it. I guess that's what I would say. Right now, I'm just growing Goodkind of Life. I'm growing in my new job with $1 Million Solution, and becoming the best at those particular things. It's, to me, that's it's just very fulfilling to see what I'm capable of and to keep testing myself and moving forward. But I'm taking care of myself too. I am not working 80 hours a week anymore. I don't do that kind of stuff. I recognize my age doesn't really go well with that kind of a lifestyle.
And maybe, this is again a thing, maybe there's not a need for you to do that anymore. I mean, when we come back from our break, I want to talk about, what you do to stay healthy, because
Sure.
It's really interesting. I do work a lot. I do work a lot of hours. And when I go to these conferences, I go to a lot of conferences.
Yeah.
They start at 8 or 9 in the morning, most of them at 8, and they go till 9 and 10 at night, which to me is so bizarre. I mean, yeah, they start early, they go till late. Everything is crammed into 3 days, and people say, "Oh, you can't possibly." Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's like that, and it doesn't give you a chance. I mean, you do break for lunch and you do break for dinner,
Right.
but it's hard to get the exercise in when you're starting that early and you're working that late. You don't want to be a martyr and say, oh, yeah, I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym, so that I could get my workout in. And I am a great workout person. So when I don't work out, I just, I say, oh, my gosh. But anyway, so there's all of those things. But also, I think as you age, maybe you work a little smarter,
I hope so.
That's a very key point that I think that many of us need to learn. And I continue to say to myself, I shouldn't work so hard, but I love everything I do. So it's hard for me to say, no, I don't want to do this, or I should not, I should take time for this or that. But I do take time. If someone wants to have lunch, I'll have lunch. I don't schedule it, but if someone calls and says, do you want to go to lunch or you want to go to dinner? I do that. I go to the theater. I don't go to the movies anymore because I see so many of them on the plane, but in fact, I think I've seen every possible movie on American Airlines. I fly American, and I think I've seen everything they've got to offer. And but I mean, I do take time for certain things, but I don't take a vacation. I don't say, okay, I'm going to go to. I did go to Greece for 2 weeks because my son sent me. That was one of my birthday gifts, which was very sweet of him. But normally, I when I go somewhere, it's for work. And I tell you, I live in the three best places in the world. I live in Miami, San Diego, and Palm Springs. So you can't get better than
Ooh,
that. So
yeah.
where I live is my vacation.
Yes.
Well, so hang on, folks. We're
Okay.
coming back with Susan Goodkind Wideman, and we will be back in just a few minutes.